Rum raisin.
And chill. Hello and welcome to episode 4, the finale of Mage the Ascension specifically. I get all tongue-tied when Justus starts talking about rum raisin. Specifically, this is a Technocracy campaign. Order across New York. This is episode 4, Strange Bedfellows. Before we dive into this too deeply, let us meet these wonderful people that will be joining us here today. And I'm going to go in the order that you are on my screen, starting with Mikaela.
Oh, I've got nothing. Hi, I'm Mikaela. I'm playing Allison, who is an It-X. Maybe a construct, maybe not. You can find me on the socials.
And it's true.
That's it.
Best stuff's behind the paywall, though. Emily?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Emily. I'm playing the character Oz tonight. They are Technocracy, obviously, as we all are, and It-X, which I just learned is a way you can say it instead of saying the full thing. So,
I mean, that's how else, how else are people supposed to know that you're cool if you don't, like, you know?
It's just more efficient.
It's true, which is kind of their whole thing. Yes. Mason?
Yeah, hey everybody. My name is Mason Dula. I'm playing Muldamons tonight. Yeah, I don't know. I got to punch people's faces in last time, so that's honestly the highlight of all of our World of Darkness stuff so far for me. So
it's true.
You did a good night.
Literally get to beat people to death who deserve to die. So like win-win, like a double. Okay. Justus.
I am Justus, and I am playing Nathaniel Gray, who is of the Syndicate. And happy to tell you that.
Excellent. Noura?
Hello, everyone. I'm Noura Ibrahim, and tonight I play Belladonna, a.k.a. Agent Nightshade, who is an NWO operative and the most obnoxious influencer by day, and also apparently Team Vanilla. So
take that to mean what you will.
Sorry, rum raisin.
True. And last but certainly not least, Diana.
Hey everybody, I'm Diana DiMicco. Tonight I'll be playing Dr. Arthura Klimt. You can call me Art, though. I am a void engineer.
Excellent. You all, thank you for tuning in, are able to affect the outcome of this game. If you hit !order, there's a couple things that can happen. You can donate to affect the way that this is going to go and help pay our beautiful cast and keep the lights on. It's sunny QueueTimes. For $50, everyone will gain or lose 3 dice to their roll. If a single person donates all of that, you decide. If not, we'll let chat decide. I think you already know what I want. Obviously penalize them. For $150, everyone gains or avoids a paradox backlash. Again, in Mage, they are able to manipulate reality, but reality fights back. And when you pull it too far, it snaps. That's called a paradox backlash. You can help them prevent that or make one happen, which obviously you should do. For $250, everyone gains a temporary dot in a sphere of their choice. For some of them, that will put them above rank 4 in some of the things they could do, which is literally godlike power. So, yeah, just all your Palpatine unlimited power fantasies can come true. And last but certainly not least, for $500, a major NPC will appear. You guys can decide. I can decide. Just gonna be somebody terrible because this is the World of Darkness, which does bring up one last point. Presumably, if you're tuned in for episode 4, you already know this, but let me just say on the off chance this is your first time stopping by, this is the World of Darkness. It is the exact same continuity as Vampire, Werewolf, Wraith, and Changeling. As such, these people are members of the Technocracy, formerly known as the Order of Reason. They are essentially reality's police force. It is their job to enforce consensus reality and stamp out reality deviation in all of its forms because it is dangerous. They are ultimately here to protect humanity from unsuspecting terrors that lurk in the night and in the day and make sure that they never find out about it. And I, for one, thank you all for your service. Now, sorry, I went to hit the mute before I hit my loud sniffle. Missed the mute. I apologize for that, for deafening you all. Now, that being said, last time we met, you all gained a clue about an orphanage that was very unusual. You saw it was not showing up on any maps. A lot of the records with the city had been deleted or altered. There were records of children having been assigned there as a foster home, but never coming out of it as adoptees. Some years ago, the company Pentex had funneled large amounts of money into the area in and around the church in developments and acquisitions. As you all went in, you found there were 9 children in 6 deviants of some unusual type that were in there inside of this church. You did split into 2 teams, one that went in from the front, Team Vanilla, and one that went in from the back, Team Rum Raisin. And in the process of, you were able to both stop the children, pacify 5 of the reality deviants inside, and 2 more that had arrived with 2 new children that they had snatched from the street that very night, intercepted by Artura and the professor outside. After getting these children to safety, which again, they were in the process of some sort of indoctrination by these members of the 8th generation cult. It wasn't exactly clear what they were being told, but you could tell they were all very malnourished, very underfed, and also very docile. They didn't really talk. Anything you told them to do, they did immediately. Otherwise, they basically just stood there looking blank-faced. And 5 of them were sleeping when you arrived. 4 of them were apparently in the process of one of these conditioning sessions. When you came into the room, they were all restrained, looking at what had been a reel-to-reel tape projector of some sort that was spinning by the time you arrived, presumably because the people up here were otherwise occupied with you. Now, this was all late into the night, and it is nearly sunrise as you have returned to Sub-Basement 7 at the PAX Corp headquarters to report back into your handler, RST, what happened. And we come back to it there with you all reporting in. Explain that to me one more time.
There was a spidery creature, and there were doctors injecting children, and there's a giant chasm in the basement that you might want to go check out, but we didn't want to. We figured we should just come back here and talk to you about it.
Getting the innocent captives out of there into safety was, of course, the correct strategic move. I would accept.
You're welcome.
Yes, and I would expect no less from Allison, but I'm glad that you listened to her. Yes. We did send in the cleanup team that you all requested, but when they got inside, they found nothing.
They
work more quickly than we anticipated. Because I can assure you all that was happening.
Well, not only do I have no reason to question the accounts of 6 agents of your level of dedication and skill, we also had the live stream feed from at least one of you to observe the events as they happened. So yes, I am aware that you are telling the truth. It doesn't change the fact that when our cleanup team went in, they found nothing.
And
did they run dimensional scans or no?
Allison, of course they ran dimensional scans.
Just wanted to confirm.
There was a very narrow window in time between which you all, I will not say escaped, rescued the hostages, and our next team was on site. You are quite correct, Agent Belladonna. If they were able to scrub the location so thoroughly, so quickly, that is an unusual level of capability and efficiency to find outside of our organization. Gray, Maul, Are you two all right? You can report for medical treatment if necessary. I can tell just by looking at you, you've suffered a number of lacerations, fractures, possibly a punctured lung, Gray.
Yes, sir. I did my best, sir. But
I'm sure you performed admirably as always, Agent Oz.
It is a trifle troubling. I anticipate reporting to medical for a brief look over after the debrief.
And you, Maul?
Do we have time for it?
Yes, because quite frankly, if I were to redeploy you now immediately and you break down in the field due to your pre-existing injuries, the efficiency of our operation would be hindered by at least 42%.
There's also the potential for increased insurance claims.
And also, we care about you.
Well, it sounds like the decision's
People
already
like
been
to
made
hear
for me.
that.
I am flattered.
Of course you are.
I thought it was Agent Nightshade that was the master of psychological profiles. Well done, Agent Klimt.
Yes, I am a true master.
This is a troubling development. And he kind of runs his hands over a couple of manila folders that are on the table in front of him. As I mentioned to you before, there have been a number of anomalous happenings in New York. It is why your team has been assembled and redeployed here. A few months back, there was the incident at the art gallery in Chelsea. The hemophagic entities were very thorough in their attempts to keep what happened under wraps, but we are sure that a number of high-profile members of their community were destroyed, and we have cause to believe that the shapeshifters were involved in some capacity. There was also the train depot attack, where one of the trains went missing through a mechanism that is as of yet unrevealed to us. But afterwards, there were significant void tremors that echoed out that Dr. Klimt herself was instrumental in the detection of, but we are not necessarily sure of their cause or their effect. There was the Swift Tower explosion downtown. We have cause to believe that Swift was meddling in non-local energetic sources. Somehow we were not aware of his research, or of course we would have put a stop to it before such a calamitous loss of life and resources. And there have, of course, been the increase in the odd energetic emanations from under the streets in Manhattan. We think it has something to do with the unrest of the Fae, as they are colloquially known. There seems to be the makings of a civil war of some sort mounting between them. I have no concept of their bizarre system of chivalry and courts and kings and dukes. However, if open war were to spread onto the streets of New York, that of course becomes all of our concern. And now you are telling me that a quasi-religious cult that we thought eradicated by the werewolves, no less, seemingly is alive and well and also resurging. Is that correct?
I wouldn't say that they are completely alive and well. The bank catastrophe was an attempt for them to regain some of their former power and standing. So they are definitely reeling. Now is the time to deliver the final blow.
I spoke with management while you all were deployed, and we have been approved to initiate a modicum of diplomatic relationship with some of these other parties. We believed that some of the werewolves designation, and he flips through one of the folders, Silver Fangs were instrumental in the eradication of the 7th generation before. You all have our permission to reach out to them if you are able to do so to establish a line of communication safely.
I hear they're the most reasonable and beautiful of the creatures that you speak. So I understand why we would want to go to them.
He flips through and he says, that is not at all anywhere in the data that I have accumulated.
It's right there on the sheet. I saw it.
I saw the word narcissistic.
Yes, they believe themselves to be the royalty of the werewolves, which seems like an oxymoron at best. I am not sure how you have a king dog, but it is something they certainly believe, and their politics are generally no question of ours.
Do any of us have previous ties to these people that we can reach out to them?
Agent,
I certainly don't.
Belladonna, roll for me your dice pool to simulate your social media influence when you're doing your thing.
Would that be influence plus what? What do you do?
There's been one of your backgrounds you've been using before now. What have you?
I could use influence itself. I could use. Would it be just straight roll?
Charisma and influence, and I'll give you streetwise. Charisma, streetwise, and add your influence dice.
Okay. And what am I? Is it above 6?
Yeah, 6. For you, it'll just be 6.
1, 2, 3 successes.
There is a name of a woman that comes up in your search. Her name is Harla Eckers. You suspect she is of this designation, Silver Fangs, and there is a place that is known as the Axis, which is a club that is quasi-neutral territory. You also know that members of the Technocracy, this is another one of those places that is just sort of an unspoken thing that you just overlook. You cannot, the Technocracy cannot under any circumstances overtly approve such a place, and yet actively trying to shut it down would be costly and difficult. So it just sort of never really comes up.
Right. Well, unless anybody has any personal ties, and I don't see why you would, I would say that there is a contact that I could make within this club that I'm sure you all have had to deal with in some aspect or another. I'm sure you're all familiar with the Axis, yes?
Yes.
Any of you that have been in New York more than a couple of weeks know the Axis? Any of you that are new in town don't. You would all know that it is neutral territory by an authority that you all, of course, do not recognize, but it is a place where apparently different kinds of reality deviants can go, which normally, by its very nature, would be the type of place that you all would want to eradicate, but it would not go easily.
Far be it for me to complain about going to an establishment and creating a somewhat improvised performance, but what exactly are we authorized to offer for this tentative alliance you speak of, RST?
Gray holds the purse strings, although if... what was the name of the person that you might know, Agent Belladonna?
It would be one Harla Eckers.
If she is, in fact, one of them, interesting. She is a woman of significant wealth and holding. Simple bribery would probably have minimal effect. From what I comprehend of those creatures, an opportunity for, and he flips through more pages, glory might actually be sufficient motivation.
Yeah, but that could mean like anything. Glory in what sense? What does she want? What does she want?
Perhaps
What does she
if
want?
The werewolves were instrumental in bringing about the end of the 7th generation, and there was a resurgence. There would be a certain amount of shame associated with those that supposedly brought down the original 7th generation. So giving them the opportunity to stamp out this cancer could provide this glory, as well as saving us a bit of resources. Let them do the dirty work, and we can stay above such mongrel activities.
I absolutely agree with you finally on one point.
And perhaps we can give them the location of the church. They may have different capabilities for discovery and destruction.
Of course, it is not possible that they possess capabilities that are beyond our own, but their non-logical approach may yield differing fruits, yes. And as you say, Gray, they are uniquely suited as blunt instruments. Agent Belladonna, as you continue your search through the social media, along with this Harla Eckers, you find social media footprints for 2 others named Jax and Selena. Jax seems to be the quintessential himbo, beautiful but a bit of a blunt instrument. Selena is an up-and-comer in socialite, but has definitely become more active in social causes. They both are on the Technocracy's radar because they were filmed in the area of the train scene incident with the nuclear bomb late last year, along with a few others, but it's harder finding information on those.
And how are they tied to Harla?
You believe they are also these Silver Fangs, but they definitely are younger. She is higher in whatever pack hierarchy those things have. Of course, it doesn't make any sense to you. Harla definitely seems to be wealthier and more of a shot caller. They seem more like up-and-comers.
So they would probably be persuaded a little easier.
Difficult to say. The only one that you definitely know how to find is Harla, though. Well, and even definitely know how to find is Strong, but she's a regular at the club. You think you probably could find her there, or at least ask around at the club and find out how to get to her.
All right. Well, I would say that going to this club and knowing the way the Silver Fangs are, that it would be easy to manipulate them into having them have a high stake in this situation. What would you say, everyone?
I think you should probably do the talking.
Fair?
Yes, I am amenable to that.
Gray, at that exact moment, one of your phones buzz with a text message. This is one that is not registered in your name. It is solely for financial transactions in Southeast Asia. And it simply says, "We're outside and we'd like to meet."
Is that all? I believe I could do with some freshening up prior to this excursion to the Primitives Club.
On the contrary, this is the one club in New York where you won't stand out like a sore thumb.
I didn't know you cared so much.
Oh, it is not care. It is simply prudent. I should have my injuries looked at so that I am at peak physical condition.
Right.
I agree.
You see,
Okay.
RST just touches his ear and says, "What?" And you see he looks at the wall, and of course this room is bare white walls, very harsh lighting, black conference room table that you all are sitting around it, and you all have never seen him do anything other than have these manila folders that always seem to have what he needs in them. He flips through his pages and he just has things, but you've never seen him use a computer. But when he touches his ear, then he's like, what? And turns and looks at the wall. On the wall, a high definition image appears, like a TV just comes on. And you can see the front of PAX Corp, the building that you are in, which again is a syndicate stronghold. And there is a black limo with blacked out lights parked outside with two suited men that clearly look like security standing next to the door, like they're ready to open it to let someone out. In the background, you can see the sunrise just creeping over the horizon.
Yes, I believe that is for me.
Should we all come, or are you?
Yeah, are you going to introduce us to your friends?
Gray, you know, I don't need to tell you, but I should probably remind everyone else here, you of course can't engage in any sort of fisticuffs on PAX Corp grounds.
Oh, certainly I would not lower myself to such atrocities. I was simply...
Your lacerated liver says different, Agent.
Yes, well, that was outside of my control.
You see he looks at the screen again, and you see it just starts to shift rapidly through multiple different viewpoints. And those of you that are technologically oriented know it's different spectrums of camera immediately. It's like visual, HD, ultraviolet, X-ray. The car is completely impenetrable every time. There's people, then there's people's skeletons, then there's ultraviolet light, then there's low light, night vision. Like it immediately shifts through like 6 different things. So much so, Art, you recognize there's at least some void engineering cameras there of the things that it is actually looking through, where for a split second, you all see the street is just filled with ghosts and spirits. And there, everything is grayish black, and there's people just going through their lives. You see what looks like a woman in a black robe wearing a white ivory mask walk by and turn and look right at you, and then it shifts again back to the street. And in all of them, the car is impenetrable. And he
I don't
says,
think you should keep them waiting, Gray.
This is highly unusual, and I am not entirely sure that I should approach this alone.
You have our permission to invite them in if you would like to use one of the upper conference rooms. Only the sub-basements are, of course, secured.
Certainly.
The moment you say certainly, when you just say that, one of the men reaches over and opens the back door of the car. And you see 2 people slide out and just stand on the sidewalk. One of them is a dark-haired man with a goatee, wearing a suit but no tie, just a blue button-up. He looks fairly informal, but he has a walking stick. The other man that gets out looks almost like an accountant of some sort. He's wearing a shirt and tie and a suit with red glasses, and also has a goatee, except his hair and his goatee. What color are Allison's hair?
They're dark.
I thought Allison had like pink hair for some reason.
No.
Yeah. This person has bright pink hair. And they both stand and they sort of like look at each other for a moment, and they look right at the camera and they start walking towards the building.
Certainly. I suppose I shall see them in conference room 13.
He just touches his ear and he says, "Get 13 ready." I suppose you all can take the elevator up from here, and we will have your guests guided up if that is acceptable.
Yes, that will work.
Do you want us with you from the initial meeting, or would you like us to stand by in the surveillance room next door?
Agent Belladonna, that is very astute thinking. I believe that by limiting the contact, we might be able to master some sort of surprise, although these two individuals seem to have quite a lot of knowledge of things going on.
Do you need your muscle with you, boss?
Oz, that would be most welcome.
You got it.
Doctor, a word?
Yes.
I wanted to let you know I have noted and appreciate your concern about my well-being.
Great.
If we all get into a deadly situation and it does not compromise the mission, I will save you first.
Damon, you don't need to worry about that. I'm here for a good time, not a long time. It'll all be fine.
Also, in my recent research, I too have read about how majestic the Silverfangs are. I think the others might just be jealous.
I think so too. It certainly seems that way. Otherwise, I don't know. Obviously, they're the most important, or why would we be meeting with them? Right? Right.
I just don't want to downplay how important this meeting is.
I'd be surprised. You know, it would be very within their mercy to not kill us on the spot, but that is what I would prefer, yes.
Good. I'm glad to know we're of the same mind.
Yes, of course.
So, to be clear, and just as an Easter egg to our friends who might have joined us and might not know this, Jax and Selena, the two Silverfangs we were referring to, were Mason and Diana's characters from our werewolf campaign. So, yeah, you know, Silverfangs are nice if you're into that. You know, that's okay.
Suck it, Jake.
However, Shadow Lords are supreme. Anyway, as you all go up the elevator, again, Gray and Oz are going into the meeting. Is anyone else going to go in or wait in the next room?
I want to go take a look at the car.
Same. I want to look at the car.
Physically go out?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say, since I'm good with people, if there's any need for de-escalation or to move or persuade anything in a certain direction, I should probably be present, if that's okay with Agent Gray.
That is perfectly acceptable, and I believe that is a sound strategy moving forward.
Is there anyone nearby that can, I don't know, sew my chest up or like fix the gaping wound?
There won't be time to get patched up before you go into this meeting. I mean, you've already Oz was there at the time. I mean, you received enough like triage, like you're not actively bleeding now, but you were still definitely injured. You haven't been healed. You've been patched up. Keep track of those dice penalties for that come along with being beat up. So where's Maul going to go?
I don't think I want to go in with Gray wherever he's going to negotiate. I will probably wait outside the door.
All right. So last question for Artura and Allison, who are going to check out the car. Is it your intent to wait until these two men leave, or are you going to come out? Because even though they started walking towards the building, your elevator is incredibly fast. Dare I say impossibly fast. So you could intercept them if that were your wish, or you could not intercept them if that were your wish.
I'm not going to intercept them.
Yeah, I don't think that's necessary. We'll wait.
So, as I will start with what happens with you all, as the two men make their way in, and they walk right past the receptionist to the elevator, and just go over to the bank of elevators, hit the button, get inside, and hit 13. Even though you didn't see them talk to anyone, they knew where to go. Once they're gone, outside, the two security guys are still just standing by by the car. They look like suited, well-built gentlemen.
Allison, you're much more perceptive and smart in the ways of the material world than I am. Do you perhaps want to examine the car while I engage these two gentlemen in a rousing conversation to keep them mentally entangled?
I am not that great materially, but I can definitely look at certain resonances and make sure that it is performing things correctly.
See, even that statement was just a little too smart for me to truly engage. So yes, please, I'll do my best to make it easy for you.
Perhaps we should just speak to them directly.
That's an alternative plan, certainly. Yes, I like it. It's straightforward. Go ahead then.
You see both of them are standing there with sunglasses. That makes it difficult to know if they're looking at you or not, but they don't move. They just are standing by the car. Again, the Pax Corp building is a huge, sprawling tower of a building, but it is fairly unremarkable. Gray steel, windows you can't see in. It is just a tall box in the middle of downtown.
Okay, I'll walk up to them.
Greetings. Your vehicle is most remarkable.
Thank you, ma'am.
What sort of things have been adjusted with it?
That is classified, ma'am.
By the government?
He just head tilts slightly towards you, and then he doesn't say anything.
If you don't know, it's really okay to just admit that. I know you feel like it's a personal failing for you not to be able to adequately explain what's going on with this vehicle. After all, you weren't the one riding inside of it. I forgive you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Well, that usually works. Do you two come with the vehicle? I often like a more flashy experience when arriving at certain events, and if you two are for hire, you'd certainly give me an air of mystery.
No, ma'am. That would be against orders.
Whose orders?
And he also just looks at you, doesn't say anything.
I would like to, with my knowledge of dimensional space, the door to the limo is closed now?
Yeah, it's closed.
So I can't get a sense of what's going on inside there, can I?
You
Yes.
cannot.
Yes, I can.
Oh, how would
So-
you like to?
Well, what, Diana, do you have dimensional science or do you have correspondence?
I have dimensional space.
Okay, so it's correspondence, or at least should be.
I mean,
but
it isn't though.
Spirit.
Yeah, right.
I'm going to
Yeah.
pair time.
Yeah,
with that.
dimensional science is spirit, because spirit in the thing. But yes,
So I'm going to wind back my perceptions of time a wee bit to when the door was open, so that I could get a direct view into the vehicle, and then do my checks directly with my cybernetics.
Go ahead and roll it.
So I'm combining lots of spheres all at once. One off.
I'm
Florida's
trying to
getting close.
hire the men while she's doing this so that
7, 6, and 5. So probably
So 2.
2, probably.
Is you stand there, Allison, looking backwards. You see the men that had gone inside come walking back as you're rewinding the scene. And as they emerge from the car and you go to look inside, the pink-haired man stops and looks right at you and says, "Oh, bonjour. It's very clever. How you say, no peeking though, huh?"
Pourquoi?
And he looks around and he's like, "This is a lot of effort to get a peek inside of our vehicle. Perhaps when our business is concluded, we can take you for a ride."
Ah, bien sûr, c'est okay. And then I'll flip the time off.
And you're back there again. Meanwhile, inside, Gray, a woman in a gray business suit with a knee-length skirt hurries over and opens the door, and the 2 men that you saw come walking in. You see the darker-haired man kind of like looks around and like just sort of like cracks his shoulders a little bit and pulls a seat out and sits down. The pink-haired man walks up to the chair and stands, and he's like, "Bonjour, Monsieur Gray. I appreciate you providing your finest of Paxcorp accommodations for us today."
Am I in the room at this point with?
Yeah. Oz and Belladonna are in the room with Gray. Yep.
Oh, gentlemen, please have a seat. You really don't need to have any worries about security, or please make yourself comfortable.
Enchanté, mademoiselle. My apologies. I have not properly introduced myself. My name is Frédéric Pelchard. And you are?
Belladonna extends her hand out like this, like waiting.
And he very much does take it and kisses it. See. And I apologize for the rudeness of my associate here. He is Mike Dragon's Wrath.
Pleasure.
And he turns and looks at you, Oz. And your name, mademoiselle, enchanté?
Oz.
Ah, do you hand him your hand, Oz?
Does he, if he holds his hand out like he wants my hand?
Yep. It's clear
Yeah.
he's going to kiss your hand like you did Belladonna's if you let him.
I hold it like very much like I'm gonna shake his hand instead. And if he like starts to take it and pull to his lips, I'm very much gonna like kind of force it back down and then pull away.
Oh, you're muted, B-Dave.
When you do that, he shakes it and he looks at your arm and he looks it up and down and goes, "Oh, magnifique. You are perfection, oui."
Yes, the human body is a perfect tool if we allow it to be.
The other man, when you say that, just goes, "Right. Can we get on with this?" And he,
I agree. You all requested this meeting. What is the purpose?
c'est bon. Yes. And Frédéric does sit down and he says, "We understand that you all have come across assets and holdings that might be traced back to us eventually. So we figured that we would just get ahead of this and come and talk the face to face, as you say, to understand so that your magnificent organization and our magnificent organization might continue to peacefully coexist." Oui?
I believe I need a few more details on who you are and where you are coming from, please.
You see the other man that he told you's name was Mike's Dragon's Wrath, turns and looks right at the wall where Maul is on the other side, and he's like, "You can bring that guy in here. I mean, I assume we're being listened to anyway, so you won't hurt our feelings with a little show of muscle."
Oh, that is hardly what we need to show. Agent Maul just simply didn't like the smell that came in with you.
Oh, didn't like the smell. Let me tell. And you see the other ones. No. We are visitors. We must be, how you say, well behaved. See, we. Let me try this. I will speak the king's English then. Perhaps it might be easier to negotiate this way. Yes, you all set about some holdings of ours last night, and we just want to make sure that we're all operating under the shared set of assumptions. Yes?
And what assumptions would that be?
Well, as a corporation of our stature, as you well know, Mr. Gray, we cannot account for the activities of every single person who may or may not have been adjacent to us in our business interests. And we would hate to head into a conflict with one another when we really have no interest in whatever you would like to do with those people. Perhaps we might even be of some assistance in their apprehension.
You are telling us that, storyteller, are these Pentax? Would we know that?
I mean, it would be the implication of what he's saying is that that's what he means. He hasn't said it, but that would be the implication of what he's saying to you. Yes.
Certainly. Agent Belladonna, Agent Oz, I believe what these fine gentlemen are trying to tell us is that they own the building in which we found those despicable beings last night. I don't know if this is a forgivable offense.
That would be real rough if we were here to ask for forgiveness. Look, man, there's some people that don't want to go to war. I could give a fuck. I'm just here to find out, are we all going to be cool or are we going to be not cool?
Well, it seems to me like you do kind of give a fuck, because it seems like you would have your hands dirty in the public eye should things go not the way you would like.
He leans forward and he says, baby, I am where I am from getting my hands dirty. And Frederick is like, no. No. Calm, everyone. Yes, Oz.
Yeah, I was gonna say, when he leans in and says that to Belladonna, Oz rushes up and basically like slams her arm in between them to kind of shove him back by the throat to get away from her.
He just leans forward on the table. He doesn't like come at her, but I mean, do you still want to do that?
Yeah.
Okay. Give me your strength and brawl.
I imagine like when a mom holds her hand out when like they put the brakes on.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's literally what this is.
Seat
That's
like...
literally what this is. Yes.
Right.
Strength and brawl.
I mean, is it your intent to physically move him or just sort of like interpose yourself?
I'm kind of intimidating him and also just getting him away out of Belladonna's face.
Got it.
But yeah, I'll roll the.
Yep. Roll it.
I'll roll that. That's a good roll for me.
Yep. Roll it. I figured that's why I was like, I wanted to give it to you.
Okay, that is 8 successes.
When you move him back slightly, he looks at you and you see he goes, oh, okay. And right when Frederick goes, no, not okay. No, yes. Oh, apologies. I apologize. We do not mean to do the offenses. As everything is all right. Mike, you ought to remain calm. Let us begin again. Yes, I am Frederick Pochard. I am what we call a subdivision director without a portfolio for Pentex. It means I am allowed to be more agile in my movements and in my negotiation. And I am able to make certain things happen as they need to happen. And Mr. Mike Dragon's Wrath is a subdivision director for Pentex Security. We solve problems. And as you well know, the best way to solve the problem is to prevent it from becoming a problem in the first place. Now, Belladonna, both Belladonna and Gray, give me your either wits or intelligence, whichever one is higher. and either streetwise or politics, whichever's higher.
Ooh. Nope. Just
You
one
are muted,
success.
Mr. Gray.
Do I roll one less dice because I am injured currently?
You do. Also, recall there is a mechanic that we have not used very often where here, when you spend willpower, instead of allowing you to re-roll dice, you can spend a willpower to give yourself one automatic success. Normally, I've done that the same in all of these games, but Mage 20 is a Jenga tower of mechanics, so I try not to pull too many things out of it.
That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
One success.
Same.
Now that he mentions it, Belladonna, you have heard of the name Frédéric Pochal. He is a fixer like you. He does similar to what you do, except his name has been attached to massive things that should have been nearly impossible to pull off, like factories burning down, witnesses dying in car crashes on their way to testify for things that would have been very difficult, impossible to stage or fix, but word is he stages and fixes those things. Gray, you know this Mike Dragon's Wrath person, you know him primarily as a weapons smuggler, an arms dealer of sorts. Normally, of course, the technocracy has no need for outside acquisitions or things of this nature, but on occasion it has proven necessary to allow some of your technology to fall into others' hands to ultimately further you all's own ends, and things have been smuggled through this guy on occasion. What you both realize, not knowing much about Pentex, again, it is a multi-headed corporate behemoth. The titles that they're giving are very high up the food chain. These are not just rank and file employees. However, meanwhile, outside, as you snap back to reality, Allison, what do you do?
Was I able to determine, even from seeing the exterior of the car, whether it was like a premium type counterspell, or whether it was the shell of the car, or did just even the source of its shielding?
No, and you should have. Even being this close, you should be able to figure this out, and you just kind of can't. Even when he just said to you, no peeking, it was sort of like, okay. Like it should have required more than that. Yes, Art.
Does obviously this is very strange for us to see, right? Like we're used to being able to get a handle on what we're looking at most of the time. Is the lack of information that we're able to perceive, is that in some way telling for us?
There are very few forces on this earth that should be able to blind you so thoroughly.
Any that we would know of enough to be like, yes, this is on the right track?
Honestly, normally you all are the ones that do this kind of thing.
Great. Cool. Awesome. Perfect. So what you're saying, gentlemen, is that I cannot hire you for an event 2 weeks from tonight.
One of them slowly reaches into his pocket and pulls out a trifold ID and flips it open with a badge and says, "No, ma'am, I'm sorry, you cannot." And then he just flips it closed really fast and tucks it back away.
That was kind of rude, but all right. Allison, I don't know that we're going to get what we need from this.
No. We can return back inside.
Yes, I think that'd be wise. I'm going to let your bosses know how rude you were, though. As we're kind of walking, Allison, there's something that's bothering me. Well, you know I'm a doctor. The gentleman that we encountered in the church with the very large needles and apparent hatred of children, they can't have been the ones in charge, and usually the doctors are the ones calling the shots. Do you suppose this Dragarunter might be the person we're searching for? Every organization has a hierarchy.
Yes, of course. And I'm wondering if these people are tied to Mr. Gunter. Dragarunter.
It's a very silly name. Maybe to mislead those he works with. Yes, I'd rather observe for a moment before we enter this meeting, though. What do you think?
Yes, I agree.
Oh, and one more thing. I want to turn back and scan the security guards.
Scan them how?
Mind, Prime, and Spirit.
Okay, roll it.
2 9s and a 5.
2 successes. They read as completely human.
Okay.
You, with a little bit of mind in there, they have extreme singularity of purpose. They very much will follow orders and do what they're told. Right now, they're supposed to watch the car. They're watching the car.
Okay, so they're just dicks. Great.
Highly disciplined dicks, but yes. Meanwhile, back in the conference room, Oz, once you push him, do you leave your arm there, or when Frederic is like, no, do you move it or do you keep it?
I release my arm, but I do stand just over the guy's shoulder, like ready to strike again.
He turns and looks at you and he's like, normally I gotta buy a girl dinner before I get felt up like that.
Well,
That's not funny.
no.
Wasn't a joke.
Okay.
There's no need for conflict here. I would say we all appreciate the type of work we each do. So, what is it that you want?
C'est bon. Allow me to try again. Yes. So, what we would like to do is understand that our organization is going through a period of rapid expansion. We have a number of initiatives in New York that we believe will bear fruit very soon. Were we to be at odds with an organization of the magnitude of yours, that would be bad for business, as they say, and we have no interest in such a thing. So perhaps if you would let us know what it is that you are looking for, we might be able to help accelerate the pace of your investigation, bring it to a valid conclusion, and then you all can go about your work and we can go about ours.
Well, forgive me for saying this, but it does seem that you came here to seek some sort of counsel with us, so there must be something that we can do for you or that you are after, other than us just backing away.
Hey, look, baby. Cream Puff over here is a talker, but he gets results in his own way, and I get results in mine. Like I said, the higher-ups don't want to go to war. I could give a fuck. We're here to try and prevent it. If we can't prevent it, and you want to make an active declaration of war, then this will go where it goes. And you see Frederic turns bright red when he says that, but he doesn't disagree with him. All three of you, actually you two, Maul, since you are seeing it, give me wits and insight. Wait, there's not an insight in this version of the game. Let's see. Give me perception and alertness.
Three.
3, 3, 2, and Maul.
I have a -2 to all my stuff, right?
Yeah, because you're hurt, beat up.
Okay. For this, do I rolled already. Do you just want me to subtract from successes?
Theoretically, you remove the dice. So how many dice do you have that's not with successes on them?
How many do I have not with successes? I rolled actually 5 out of my 6 were successes.
Then I'll take away 1 success and 1 not success. So we'll leave you with 4.
Okay.
Maul, you especially being outside, all of you get an idea of this, but Maul, you being able to analyze them more thoroughly here, know that both of them are dead serious. That they're here to find out if they're going to war. Frederick does not want that. He truly does not want that. And Mike Dragon's Wrath truly doesn't care. They're not lying. Like, that is why they're here.
I'm gonna kind of peek my head inside the door, then like the awkward. Is everything going all right in here?
Yeah, c'est bon. Yes, it's all is well. We are negotiating.
Do you want me to bring like an air freshener?
No, the aroma is fading. Thank you, Agent. I believe we are reaching an understanding.
That moment.
Need anything? I'm gonna start to like pull my head back out.
When you turn around, Allison and Artura are coming into the room behind you as you're kind of closing the door there. Maul, you all, there is the 2-way glass where you all can observe all of this. On the inside, it looks just like conference room. On the other side, you all can see right through it, and you see Maul observing this meeting with these people.
Aren't they done yet?
I'm just going to walk in because 1, I don't care, and 2, I've already now had to have some sort of strange conversation with this person through time. So he obviously knows that we're here.
When you walk in, he just does say, "Oh, bonjour again. Hello." And he stands up and holds his hand out again for yours. He's like, "I was so rude not to introduce myself previously, but as you know, we were short on time."
Yeah, I don't think so. What is going on here?
Frederic Pochal, this is Mike Dragon's Wrath. We are here to, in the spirit of cooperation, we are here to give you information you may require to help conclude your investigation. We are here, how you say, as friends.
Yes, we have been reaching a conclusion. It seems, Agent Allison.
I wouldn't say friends. Not a friendly conclusion. Please, boss, go ahead.
It would appear that they wish to not butt heads as they move into New York. They were also responsible, tertiarily, for the building that we entered yesterday. And they wish to help us in our investigation. We do not wish to go to war at this time with an entity such as yourself, so yes, we will take this olive branch. What can you provide to us about the entities that were in that domicile last evening?
You see, Frederick looks visibly relieved when you say this, and Mike just kind of rolls his eyes a little bit, and he says, "They're a bunch of fucking freaks, all right? They do shit that you don't want to know about and I don't want to have to say out loud, okay? But I think you were in there and you kind of got an idea how they roll, okay? So, like anybody, they follow orders. They got a hierarchy. And when he says that, Frederic says, "Oh, yes, there's a hierarchy. Also, I believe your colorful associate over there, she also has arrived at this conclusion. Is there intelligent, mademoiselle?" Yeah. And he does look right at you, Art. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Behind the wall, you'll hear, "Aha!"
And Mike just looks at him and looks at the wall and looks at him and just kind of shakes his head. And he's like, look, we're prepared to tell you where to find that fucker. We don't care what happens to Dr. Gunter as long as the organization stays out of it.
We keep your name from press releases or any sort of intelligence documents in any way related to this, and you provide this information for us. I cannot speak on behalf of this agency that we will completely stay out of any business that you bring to New York. As long as you toe the line, though, you do not need to worry about us.
And they kind of look at each other for a second, and you see Frederic just like nod slowly, and he says, c'est bon. I believe this is acceptable. Mike, if you would, please. And you see he reaches and puts his hand in his coat and smiles for a second, and he goes, oh, he meant the other pocket. And reaches in and pulls out a small envelope and puts it on the table and slides it across towards you, Gray.
I will, one finger, slide it closer.
Numbers, addresses, everything that guy's got access to, he's going to be at one of them.
Very well. Is there anything else?
And he turns and looks right at you, Oz, and he goes, I don't know, cutie. Is there anything else?
I look at Gray and I'm just like, boss?
Agent Oz, I have no qualms with you ripping this man's head off if he continues to make Justice is drawing a blank on a word. Inappropriate advances on you. And I will look pointedly at the Frenchie.
And I'm like already looking him up on social media. Like, you do not have a good track record. I wouldn't bet on this one.
And he just sort of looks and just like shrugs. And you see Frederic is like, well, did you want to introduce your associates who are behind the doors? There's a beautiful man who pokes through with a tie. I appreciate the tie, c'est bon. And the Arthur Klimt, I'm a fan of your work. Arthur, your artistry is magnifique, c'est bon.
At that mention, Arthur, with a flourish, will fling open the door and enter the room.
Oh, hello. And he stands up and he actually bows very low and comes over and offers his hand to you as well.
I'll step inside, but stay standing by the door as awkwardly as possible.
Do you let him take your hand, Arturo?
I do, except I lean in further and kind of turn it into a hug. And while I'm real close, I'm just going to whisper in his ear, your doormen are rude and you should fire them immediately.
Oh, if they have offended you, I shall have a very strong talking to them, yeah.
Could I be there for it? He was really rude. I don't think you understand.
Unfortunately, their rudeness is one of their qualifications. I assure you, they are quite thorough in their jobs, however.
Fine. Your hair is fabulous, and I'll angrily sit down at the table.
Oh, thank you. I've just been experimenting with something new. I appreciate that. Yes, well, yes. Mm-hmm.
No, that's too much. No, never mind. Just kidding.
He looks all around you and he's like, well, this has been a delightful insight into how things are done here. Thank you so very much. I assume our business is concluded and Mr. Dragon's Wrath and I are free to depart.
One last question. There were multiple attacks made on holdings of mine personal attacks by the Pentex Corporation. Do you know anything of this? I figure while we are here, we might as well discuss this and do away with the playground antics.
Oh, apologies, sir. We just have certain policies and procedures in place that I'm sure that you all can comprehend, that when someone is snooping around in our business, we tend to eradicate them utterly. And once it became clear that it was a man of your stature that was involved in such a thing, we of course halted our advances. That is why we are here in person, as this bit of a mea culpa.
So there will be no further attacks, and I need to halt my retribution in that regard then.
We would very much appreciate your consideration in these matters, and we do apologize deeply. You know,
We appreciate you coming in person. This demonstrates the quality of your organization.
we're not so different, you know. We both all want what is best for humanity, right?
Yes, I believe that we might have different definitions, however.
Of all the different sensors and things that I have, is my bullshit alarm going off?
You also can roll perception and alertness. And Art, you can too, because you weren't here before if you'd like to.
6 successes.
All right, let's see what Art gets.
A whopping 2. I'm still mad.
He's not lying. Again, he is visibly relieved that this kind of went okay. You can tell he really wants to get Mike out of here before the wrong person says the wrong thing and this goes terribly. And he also means that in our own ways, we both want what's best for humanity. He is not lying when he says that. He stands up and sort of just like smooths out his suit and he says, while I find there may or may not be any further cause for direct contact between us, he pulls a card out and he actually hands it to you, Oz. And he says, I must apologize for my associate's rudeness. It has to do with how he was raised. Consider that I might owe you at least a small favor to also apologize for any inconvenience he may have caused.
I take the card and just like do that thing where like I crack everything really fucking loud all the way down my body. And then just pocket it without a word.
When you do that, Mike looks at you and goes, and goes to stand up. He's like, well, I guess we're done here then, right?
Yeah, it is time for you to leave.
Well, and he just looks around and like he's going to say something. And you see Frederick gives him the tiniest no. And he just goes, yeah, until next time. And the two of them turn and leave.
I
hate influencers.
Gray is going to kind of slump.
Yeah.
I do think I could use that medical bay now.
Well, shouldn't we see what's in the envelope first? You know me, I just die of curiosity.
I'll slide it across the table to her and stand up to leave.
Gray, dirt is cheaper than medical. You can just rub some dirt on it. You'll be fine.
Do you have any idea how expensive this suit is?
Oh, we could both agree on something now. Yes.
I excitedly tear open this envelope and read what's inside.
That's twice in one night, Agent Belladonna. Let's not make it a habit.
We're going to be going for mani-pedis like before you know it.
It is what they said it is. There are addresses, there are phone numbers, there are pictures of buildings. You notice a disturbingly high amount of them are either on or adjacent to college campuses. And there is one that at a small private Christian college up on the northern tip of Manhattan. There is one picture that you can just make out inside of one of the windows, a horrifically withered old man. Someone is helping him move and he's all hunched over. Maybe that's him. It's hard to say, but he would be well over 100 if he were still alive.
Do I know the building at all?
You do. And more importantly, you've got the address. Like, you know exactly where it is.
But like, am I familiar with it? Or could I make myself familiar with it right now, let's say?
Yeah. You could roll your intelligence and expression.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Those are both things I'm good at.
Yay.
Would I? Sorry, I'll wait till that's done.
No, you can. Yeah. Well, while she's getting it, what's up?
Okay. Would I be able to hack their phones so that I could overhear their conversation on the way out?
You could try.
What would I need to roll for that?
5 successes.
Mm-hmm.
You find as you look into it, it is similar to what you found at the church. It is old. It underwent some renovations in the 70s to actually do away with a lot of the Christian elements of it. Like, it's still ostensibly is a Christian college, but you can see like the crosses, stained glass, all of that stuff was taken out of it, almost 50 years ago.
My darlings, I have reason to believe that this is probably the one we're searching for. Although, Mr. Gray, I know you have some connections. Perhaps the other building should be condemned.
The one that we entered last night.
Oh, and all of these, too.
I can see what can be done.
And what was how many Belladonna?
2 successes.
When you go, you realize you didn't see either of them reach for a device, and as you scan, there's nothing on either of them.
That's no fun. Okay, I tried.
Yep. They go downstairs and they get in the car and depart. As immediately the door opens and you see a couple of people in white lab coats that are like, Agent Gray and Agent Damon were to report for restorative therapeutic analysis immediately.
Yes, please. That would be most appreciated at this juncture.
Yes, come this way. Did any of the rest of you require medical attention at all?
Negative.
No.
Agent Oz, you are scheduled for a diagnostic assessment, I've been told.
Oh, then I should definitely come in.
Yes.
I don't like to fall behind on those.
We believe we might be able to increase your efficiency by at least 13%.
That's amazing. That is approximately 12% more than last time. Great.
Technology is ever evolving, as are you, Agent Oz. The rest of you, we will return them to you shortly. And as your friends are being taken away to get checked out, is a good place for us to take a little break. So we will do a quick 10. Don't go nowheres, and we will be right back. Wow.
I did not correlate. I know. At all.
The hell was that?
What was that?
Jake?
I don't know. Somebody might have just got murdered in Jake's house there. Sorry. Yes.
That was not me. That was not me. I have no
That
idea.
was
what
Mikaela.
That was Mikaela, because I heard Matt Lillard's voice.
I
on
also
whatever
thought I
thing he
heard Matt
played.
Lillard's voice. I was like, is someone harming Matthew Lillard right now? Because
And why is he in your house, Mikaela?
I know, I'm like, I will ride out to help my homie, like, hang on, I will turn this stream around if the distress signal goes out from Matthew Lillard.
Mm-hmm.
The Matt signal.
I think that was from the
Matt.
eye jacket thing.
I'll see myself out.
Wait, play that sound clip again now
Yeah,
that
we
I know
wanna
what's happening.
I don't know. That was the long one, I think. But that was from the eye jacket conversation.
Oh God, that one. Okay. Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
That is a different kind of storytelling game of personal horror. So, here in this conference room, having been given this information from these two colorful characters who have departed, and 3 of your associates have been taken away for medical care, leaving Belladonna, Artura, and Allison behind. What would the 3 of you like to do?
Storyteller.
Mm.
You tell me how reasonable this would be.
I like where this is headed.
What I would really kind of like to do, because efficiency is of the essence, and frankly, is the sooner I can get away from Mr. Gray and take a break, the better. Would it be possible to contact? You sent us her name, Lord Queen of the Silver Fangs.
Harla Eckers?
Yes. If we know that she kind of like hangs out at the Axis, could we leave her a message there?
Yes, it's about dawn right now. But I mean, like most clubs, it's 24 hours. But theoretically, it would be a little while before it got to her. But yes, you would be able to do so.
Would I be able to do it like courier style so that it is a physical piece of paper that is given to her?
Give me wits and streetwise.
Oh, this is my first character with streetwise. They say play to your strengths. This is my strength.
I'm glad you've caught on. First it was alertness, then it was streetwise.
Yeah. 5.
Yeah, you think you could do it. You recognize at the end of the day, the biggest problem that you've got is everyone knows the organization or sub-organizations that you all represent, and people are fucking terrified of all of you. That's the biggest obstacle. But with 5 successes, you believe you could package this in such a way that it would get to her and also get read.
Okay. I would like to get a piece of paper and write at the top, "The weeds are back in the garden," and then list all of the addresses except for the one that I have the inkling Dr. Gunther Dragerunter is currently residing in. No sign, no nothing to indicate who sent it, but
excellent. You could feel like you could get that sent, and it would have a very reasonable expectation of getting to her. Yes.
What department do I contact for a courier?
The technocracy being what it is, I'm sure there is absolutely a subdivision and subsection of couriers that you would be able to get that message requisitioned. Yep.
Yes. Then I'll be sitting on hold waiting for an operator to take my call and direct it for the right place while this is going on so that I can get a courier.
However, are you making it clear to Allison and Agent Nightshade that that's what you're doing, or are you attempting to hide this from them? Because the 3 of you are together.
I'm guessing that they see me writing all of this out, and if they ask me, I'm not going to lie.
Follow-up question.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
I feel like perhaps our efforts as skilled agents are probably best used on the doctor himself. If we can use the muscle of these wolves, we might as well use them to take out the other houses and eliminate 2 problems at once.
I'm not opposed to that.
Why limit it?
What do you mean, Allison?
If they are wanting to do it, and glory is a good thing for them, then why should we waste resources?
That's the point. I also am due for a nap soon, so if we could just take care of the one house and move on, that would really be best for my schedule.
Have you performed an analysis to make sure that that's the correct one?
Yes.
Okay.
I look at Belladonna across the table and just kind of like...
I mean, if we could utilize other people to do our dirty work, why not?
And what about the cult of ecstasy?
Well, this
We got
would...
the-
Oh, go ahead.
I mean, if those kids are out, fuck them. There seems to be that. I don't know. Do we go after that? I mean, we had that message from Colonel Bradley that came. They said there was this other issue.
Oh,
How do we know which one?
Did
Yes.
we ever say what it was?
To RST? Negative.
Should we ask?
Yes.
Yeah.
Belladonna, he likes you.
I mean, I'll ask, but that's
Is it
strong
your
words.
is your intention to ask RST or to talk to Bradley directly?
I would say RST would have had he must have had like a concise report.
Concise is not the strength of the technocracy.
Would it be possible to ask both to see if their stories line up?
It would be Bradley is stationed out of this building. Again, this is a technocratic stronghold. There are several, but I mean, this is a primary hub in New York and in the world. His office is in this building. If you were to try and find him.
Well, we could ask Bradley or we could ask RST. What do you think?
We should do both. But RST first makes sense.
Yes, I was
Yeah.
going to say, we do know that RST is alive. If it was as bad as Bradley said, he might not still be around.
It's a fair assessment. Okay.
Excellent. As you all make your way back down to the sub-basement, there is a small office in rows of unmarked wooden doors that you all know the 14th on the left is RST's office. And when you open it, expecting to find what would probably be about the size of a broom closet, on the other side, it is fairly spacious accommodations, but very understated. A lot of whites, nondescript wooden desk, very harsh light. And he looks up and he goes, "Oh, the others will be done in 52 minutes. What can I do for you, agents?"
There was a report during our mission of some other activity.
Tentacles in the park. Yeah.
Yes. We just wanted to follow up.
Seen that film?
Off in the distance, Bunny's like, "I was in that film." He says, "I dispatched another team that night. They said they couldn't find any sort of deviation. I don't know."
That's
Do we think Bradley is compromised by the individuals who were here?
It's a possibility.
Bradley's served with distinction for 40 years. He's vital to our military industrial division.
Is there any way I have access to a background check on him?
Are you asking RST or are you asking me with Dicewise?
I'm asking you, Dicewise.
I would say as an agent, you know, everything goes through requisitions, everything goes through management. So it really depends on if you're going to go through the standard procedure or you're going to try and go around it.
Well, if there's anything that's outright redacted that seems suspicious, that's one thing. But I would also go around
the
certain protocol.
Understand the technocracy is the bureaucracy's bureaucracy. Like everything is stacked on top of stacked on top of stacked of how stuff gets done.
Right.
So if it were your intent to look into it, you could definitely try.
I would like to.
Okay.
Just to cross T's, dot I's.
Make your computers check for me as well.
Ooh, I don't know if I have that thing. Oh, I do.
Meanwhile, Oz.
Computers and what? I'm sorry, before.
Wits. Oz. Gotcha. In this room, where you have been disrobed and are standing under the lights as technicians are working on your limbs, what do they look like?
So, underneath my sleeves, basically from the top of my arm down, it's like carbon steel looking, just like sleek metal. Everything is like jointed so that everything bends. It looks like a normal human arm, but it looks like if I needed to bend my arm at other weird angles, I would be able to. But it's mostly to provide like additional like piston strength so that my arms can be stronger when needed. And my legs are the same basically from the mid thigh down as well.
Is they are looking at you and you're watching readouts go by on the wall. They say, yes, so we have come up with new combat physiology efficiency protocols that we could upload for you right now. There might be a slight drawback that we were told that we need to disclose to you. It might compromise some of your emotional subroutines. Oh, sorry, you were born a human. It will lead to a massive reduction in your capacity for feeling and emotion. But your kinesiology would be vastly improved. So presumably you would like this. And his finger just like hovers over a data pad.
Well, she like struggles a moment and is like, the prime body is the most important thing, but can you just give me a minute?
Yes. I don't know why you would have to weigh such a decision, but
the decision is yes. I just need to do something really quickly.
You might have the room, Agent Oz. And you see the scientist, right when he says you can have the room, all of them just stop what they're doing, and like the four of them turn and walk out, leaving you in this lab.
So I take out my phone and completely just like bare, ready for upgrades, etc. Take an attempt at like a sexy selfie. But it's very much like she like scans through her brain of other things like this she's seen on the internet and is like it's awkward. And then sends it to Roz and says like, eggplant, you may meet a different Oz soon. Don't be scared. Remember what we have. Eggplant, send.
It's about 7:20 in the morning, so you do not get a reply, but you do send it.
Yeah, I don't even look for a reply. I just summon the guys back in.
They come back in and they're like, are you prepared for your firmware update?
Yes.
You are a credit to the work of Iteration X, Agent Oz.
As I always strive to be.
And you see he starts typing on the data pad, and immediately you feel like a jolt go through you, and you do feel your muscles ripple with power, and you do feel numb.
That was satisfactory.
I realize this is a non-scientific scale, but how do you feel, Agent?
Approximately 13% stronger.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, we'll give you an opportunity to get dressed again, and we will return you to your team.
Of course. Clothes are necessary.
It does strike me on occasion as almost criminal to have to mask the technological mastery that you represent. But yes, unfortunately, in a world of sleepers, it is necessary to allow them to go upon their assumptions that no being of the supreme capability, such as yourself, walks among them.
And yet, I pull on the sleeves and the Lululemon gear and walk out the room.
Excellent. Maul, Gray, you two are coming out completely restored now as you see Oz coming down the hall towards you.
Oz, you look well.
Thank you. My body is 13% stronger. Therefore, it makes sense that it would appear 13% better.
That's good to hear. You also sound like you're pretty focused now, more than before, certainly.
Why shouldn't I be focused?
An excellent question. Why are we wasting time? Let's go.
Precisely.
Quite.
Meanwhile, in RST's office, what did you get there, Agent Nightshade?
4 successes.
Again, Bradley has served with distinction. He's been in New York since the 1970s. He was instrumental in several actions against the shapeshifters. That was where he actually made his mark, was launching several successful raids on some of their holdings, which is, of course, very difficult to do. He is actually a colonel in the United States military, and RST said he has been instrumental in the military industrial branch of Pax Corp's dealings. He acts as a bit of a liaison.
Okay, but nothing suspicious or highly redacted.
Oh, there's all sorts of things. Like the details of a lot of his missions are all completely redacted, but it's like, from here to here, he was blank, acting in the capacity of blank, but not in an unusual sense. So anyone that read your file, it would read similarly, especially for someone that has had a history that long.
All right. Nothing strikes me as odd about any of it.
And
no
that's
more
what
than
you tell us.
Yeah. Do you reveal to the others?
I do absolutely in detail.
And how anomalous is the success rate?
Especially to you, Allison, no man should have lived through some of the things he's lived through. Whatever his training, whatever his capability.
I would like to do a quantum check on the variance of that.
Excellent. Well, while you're rolling that, at that moment, the door opens and you see a rested and refreshed looking Gray and Damon walk back in with a highly focused Oz in tow.
3 off. I did a computer thing first to lower the difficulty.
Okay.
You all look much better.
Yeah.
4 successes on the Arete roll.
And again, to find out how the likelihood of his success is what you were saying?
Yeah, like if he should have only been able to survive based on other agents of similar caliber, what would their success rate have been versus what his success was? Because we all have our own kind of luck, but how much of it was well and truly beyond what an agent would expect?
Not possible. He's had 100% success.
Okay.
Specifically against werewolves. That was his claim to fame. And 100% of the time he has gone after shapeshifter targets, he has gotten confirmed kills.
This data is incorrect, or at least if it is correct, is highly anomalous.
RST says, I mean, the man's he's a legend. I mean, of course, he's the best at what he does.
Negative. This is an absurd stretch of reality's possibility.
You see, he begins frantically flipping through some pages in one of his, he like shifts and grabs another folder and starts flipping. And he does say, it does seem odd that he is the lone survivor of so many strike teams.
He should be brought in for questioning.
I mean, he's upstairs right now, but I mean, let me rephrase. We don't go in for sentimentality, of course, but an agent of his level of decoration and accomplishment must be afforded every reasonable doubt.
Arguably, if you say his dedication is what it appears to be here, he should have no problem answering a few questions about missions and the things that got him so decorated. Wouldn't you agree?
He does sit back in his chair when you say that, and he says, Gray, Mull, assessment.
I think we've had a few too many anomalous run-ins lately. I don't really want to take any chances.
What are we assessing, sir? I'm not quite sure where we're standing now.
You are in RST's office. He says, your team members have questions about Colonel Bradley. The report that he filed last night may have seemed like a conveniently timed misdirection. We deployed a team to the park to investigate and found no reality deviation. Now, it is clear he has had a statistically improbable amount of success in his career. And as you say, we make our own luck. However, 100% success is anomalous at best.
I myself have an 87% success rate.
And you are an exemplary agent, Gray.
Whether
100%.
Whether this man is a traitor or not, why would he make this call? Is he senile? I don't feel comfortable with him calling any shots.
Gray, Belladonna. Bradley is in WO. Which is why he is one of our key links in our military industrial division. I don't have to explain that to the two of you. And the rest of you, I will not be explaining that to.
Certainly.
RST, how bad would it be for you personally if he were in fact traitorous to everything we do?
It would not reflect upon me personally at all, nor would it reflect on any of you. And
it reflects on our entire organization.
That is the problem. If there could be traitors at the heart of the Technocratic Union, there can be traitors at the heart of literally any organization known to man.
Wonderful. So then you have no problem with us going and talking to him and putting this whole thing to bed right now, one way or the other, correct?
Oh, I'll clear it with management. Yes.
I would say that we should do it discreetly, though, because would not reflect well upon us should this information get out into the wrong hands.
And if what you say is true, You will want to tread lightly. He is obviously a skilled combatant to have survived so many direct encounters with the shapeshifters.
Also that.
So I would advise against engaging in fisticuffs unless you are absolutely certain no other opportunity presents itself. Agent Oz, this may not be the primary opportunity to flex your 13% enhanced muscles.
What is my directive?
Diplomacy primarily, pacification if necessary, desolation only as a final outcome.
Understood.
He's on the 75th floor.
One of you all should go first if we're trying to be discreet.
Agent Belladonna, you were his primary contact. Perhaps a soft entry where you could perhaps question him about last night's call, first and foremost. That seems to be our most solid link. Everything else, while statistically improbable, is tenuous. It can be explained away by many of the things that we know we all have access to. So...
Okay. I'll have you all dialed in through our phones so that you could overhear our conversation, and feel free to enter when you feel necessary.
Is it possible, Agent Allison, or Agent Art, is it possible for the two of you to view them during this exchange without being detected, looking for body movements, eye fluctuations, things of that nature?
Well, we could walk into the room and look at them, if that's what you're asking.
No, we are looking for more subtle approaches on this one. I do not fear many humans, however. I guarantee you he does not have any sort of detection devices within his office.
You can never be too sure.
Am I able to do what's being asked of us right now? Am I able to kind of observe without observing? You're muted, my love.
You're muted.
It would probably be difficult unless you were going to try and lure him into a conference room like where you were before. There's probably no easy way to observe his office, because that's the point behind his office.
Yeah.
If Belladonna is going to be in there, may we share our VDAS through our eyes?
Does Belladonna have that in plan as well?
I sure do.
Then yes, you absolutely could. You could monitor the visual and auditory inputs that she was putting out. Yep.
There you go.
I'll download the app real fast. On the way, I'm going to explain to Oz and Maul and Mr. Gray about my brilliant plan with the shapeshifter and how I'm going to get them to take care of most of our problems for us in an efficient manner befitting the king of the syndicate himself. That's you, Mr. Gray.
I am hardly the king of the syndicate. I am but a underling trying to do my best for the technocracy, but that is quite an astute plan and a great savings of funds and expenditures.
But we will have to tip the courier.
RST leans forward and he says, non-linear combat. I like it. That is why we prize you in your unusual way of seeing things, Dr. Klimt.
Thank you. Thank you. Someone understands. Thank you so much, RST. Thank you.
If you all are going to approach Bradley, I suggest you do it directly. The mere fact that these words have now been spoken aloud in the building is certain to set off certain reactions.
Then we shall move quickly.
Yes.
As you all head up to the 75th century, it is still austere, but less austere up there. There are more paintings. There are vases with like live flowers in them. You see secretaries and underlings of all sorts busy back and forth doing all sorts of things that is not exactly clear. But to any casual observer, this looks more like a high-end New York office as you get up there. And Bradley has one of the corner offices.
Do I approach a secretary?
As you do get close, she looks up and she looks right at you and she goes, Agent Belladonna and your team. Or how close is the team, by the way? That's how yes, you are able to monitor her visuals and audio, but how close do you all get, or where are you going to be doing this from?
We can be doing it from away. Yeah, we can do it from the floor below.
Yeah, you can do it from the floor below. No problem. Then, yes, she just says, Agent Belladonna, I did not have you on the Colonel's schedule today.
Oh, I know the Colonel is very busy, but I was wondering if you had a moment to spare over some pressing matters that occurred last night. A correspondence. Just following up.
He has a meeting with the Joint Chiefs in 45 minutes. Hold on a second.
It won't take long. Just please let him know that I'm here.
She picks up her phone and she's, sir, it's Agent Belladonna for you. Yes, she says it's quite pressing. No, she's alone. Yes, sir. And she hangs it up and he's like, he says you can have 7 minutes, 40 seconds.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. As I walk past.
When you open the door, it is a corner office. There's windows on all sides. You can see there are a number of odd trophies. Give me your perception and either enigmas or esoterica, whichever those you might have.
Okay.
Message from headquarters. Goal number 1 has been hit.
Ooh.
Hey, thank you. Did they say 3 dice for or 3 dice against?
Let me find out.
Yes, Chad, you decide.
6 successes.
Those are all werewolf relics. If you just look at them, they just look like odd bone knives, medallions. It looks like Native American or Inuit art in things, but you can tell these are all things that were taken from werewolves that he's killed.
Over a span of time.
Again, to the casual observer, just interesting art. But you're like, hey.
And storyteller, if we're downstairs, can I be broadcasting this feed up,
yes,
like in our conference room or something?
I very much also just zoom in on those relics just to be like, this.
With 6 successes, I will say, they have things that they refer to as talismans. And also things are called talons. They have these ritual blades called claves that he has a couple of. This is no small thing. But as you walk in, he's like, Belladonna, good to see you, girl.
Oh, Colonel, thank you so much for taking a moment. I know you're a very busy man, and I won't take too much of your time. I just wanted to follow up on the information from last night. I know that we didn't get to it at the moment.
I gotta tell you, Belladonna, I'm not accustomed to personally picking up the phone and not having an agent obey a direct order. You mind explaining yourself?
Well, we kind of had our hands full at the moment. You see, there were children involved, and so we couldn't just leave that very moment without seeing that they were escorted out safely.
God damn it, Belladonna, that's the problem. If you ever intend to sit at a desk like this, you gotta understand the bigger picture, okay? Yeah, sure, there might have been some children in peril at the location you were at, but if that deviant had gotten lost, all of reality would have been at stake.
I could only be so fortunate as to have you as a mentor someday. because I feel like there's so much I could learn from you. However, at the moment, I did feel like that was the right decision. But if I would love to know.
Hold on, let me stop you right there, Agent. You want to know what separates us from those hind teeth sucking reality deviants out there going about things all willy-nilly? We don't do things based on how we feel, Agent. We follow orders.
Oh, this was not an emotional assessment at all. This was protocol. It was a very tough situation. I felt that given the circumstances and given the direct protocols that we were given, that this was scientifically the best way to go about it. However, I just wanted to see where we were at on that situation in particular.
The mission that I said that you needed to go to, there's tentacles in the park, I believe, was the assessment that I gave you.
Yes, the tentacles in the park, that one.
I called upon more responsive and capable agents to go and pacify the situation.
Oh,
thankfully, the loss of life was minimal.
Splendid. Who was the agent that was in charge on that mission?
Well, that information is need to know, Agent. I don't know that you need to know. Wouldn't you? Even though you had the opportunity.
Well, seeing as how you did ask me, and just wanted to see if there was any other information or mission regarding this that I could be of use.
Oh. So what you're asking me is not necessarily about this mission, but how you might be of use. That's the question that you're putting before me here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that, Agent, is a slightly different question. And you see he taps a button and the lights turn black. Like the windows where you could see out over New York, all like tint is over where they're all black. And he says, let me ask you something, Agent. Why do you think it is we do what we do? Or more accurately, why do you do what you do? What gets you up out of bed every day in the service of the New World Order?
There are things that exist within this world that had the everyday person knowledge of, the entire fabric of society would crumble. There would be no order. There would be no society. Is it really necessary for your average family to know that such monsters exist? We're protecting the world from the things that they don't really need to know about, and so that they could have happy lives and exist in the happy little worlds that they want to exist in. And progress as they should normally progress.
Absolutely. Just like a mama covering her baby's eyes so she don't see titties on TV before he's of age, right? That's what we do for all of mankind. And that's what we've done back for centuries, since the formulation of the Order of Reason. And that's the way things are meant to be. And he hits another button on his desk. And when he does, the feed cuts off, Allison. You can't see or hear anything else.
Uh-oh.
You, Belladonna, don't realize you're no longer transmitting. And he just sort of leans forward on his desk and he says, here's the thing, Agent. As I said, there are some things that are need to know that you don't need to know, but it might be possible that you can become even further enlightened. As you know, the Order of Reason is built upon secrets on top of secrets and wheels within wheels for the protection of our grand organization, and by extension, the protection of the human race at large, which is beset on all sides by all manner of reality deviants. But what if, and he stands up, and he looks every bit the aging military type, high and tight, haircut, broad shoulders, but slim, and walks around and sits on the front part of his desk and says, but what if that grand decree that you just stated, well, that was all bullshit, girl. And I don't mean like the Nefandi and all of that other insanity. I mean, what if that wasn't really going on? What if that wasn't really what we're working towards? What if you could be a part of the true solution? Agent Nightshade, then what would you say?
Well, I've always been of a firm belief that people will learn what we tell them. And so, knowledge is above all else what I seek.
Yes, Agent Gray. You are muted, sir.
As soon as the feed cuts out, I assume that we will all spring into action as quickly as we can.
What does that mean? Because you all are one floor down.
Flag RST with the feed so that he's aware of everything leading up to it.
Mm-hmm.
They can perform secondary scans on his emotional state beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to start trying to use the quantum computing to bypass whatever was used to block the feed.
Excellent. But presumably you all are physically trying to come upstairs in the... Okay, yes, Arturo.
I am going upstairs. However, I'm going to take a bit of a shortcut. I think it's window cleaning day here at the office. It's a high rise. I would. Oh man, this is.
I don't think high rises work like that, Agent Clint. But let's see where this goes.
They have to have their windows cleaned. It was in the scene of the Matrix, and you said Mage was the Matrix, so don't you lie to me, B. Dave.
They also had a helicopter with a Gatling gun when they tried this in the Matrix.
Well, if you gave me that,
just
I would
gotten there
yet. I say it's window cleaning day. God damn it! I control time. That's my shit. I
love that episode of Doctor Who.
I would like as the window on the floor below, like where we're at, the window cleaner is going to get bird poop on his shoulder, so he has to come inside and abandon his little like high-risey. I don't know the actual word for it, you guys.
Yeah,
the movable scaffolding that they use to
yeah.
clean the windows. And I'm just gonna just pop out there and just take a little boop upstairs so I'm ready should my fellow agent go flying out of a window here.
You can roll this. It is going to be difficulty 8 though, because high-rise windows do not open. So if
they
these
do,
open,
if I push hard enough.
I was about to say, for some reason, if these open, we're about to find out.
Matter. It's a stretchy window.
Exactly. It's gonna be difficulty 8 here to see if you can do this.
I can spend willpower.
You can spend willpower to get a guaranteed success. However, I do need some clarification from the omniscient producer voice. Was it plus 3 dice or minus 3 dice?
It is plus 3 dice for the players.
Boo! Boo!
So I'm just gonna pick up 3 more dice then.
You can blame Tanya for that, actually.
Boo!
Tanya.
Tanya. Yeah, we're supposed to be cool, Tanya.
And given the recent very deep connection that Maul has made with the Doctor, if he sees her heading that way, he's probably going to follow her.
Excellent. 6 or 5?
5.
You know, for reasons that are bizarre, but the technocracy is all about technological innovation. There are, in fact, opening windows on the 74th floor of a high-rise. Bizarre, you know?
Weird how that works, huh?
Rapid jettisoning, or for armed fire against a hostile approaching aircraft.
I will hop on my new personal elevator.
Presumably Maul's going with her.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Oz, what is Oz doing? Just going up the stairs? Or what?
Yeah, whatever Mr. Gray is doing, Oz follows.
Gray's up the stairs. Allison's up the stairs.
Great.
Well, yeah, but I was running the computing
Yeah.
thing simultaneous.
Roll that for me.
I got 7 successes all in all on the computer on the skill roll because of all the specialties. So assuming that brings my difficulty down to like 4 on the irritate, I got 4 successes there too.
You are able to crack it. It is technocratic, blackout technology that he's using. So you are able to penetrate it and reconnect, hearing Belladonna talking. Upstairs, Belladonna, as he's here kind of right in front of you, he just says, I've come to realize in my long and distinguished service that, and I realize this will sound blasphemous is the wrong word, treasonous, but unfortunately it has been borne out, and I hope that you are able to serve long enough to come to the realization that I have, but perhaps I might shorten your trials and tribulations by a few decades here. The truth is, the consensus is all wrong. We got the right idea, trying to keep everything the same, keep everything even keel, keep everybody on the same page. But we've been rowing in the wrong direction, Agent. The world we've been trying to establish ain't the world that's to come.
And what would you do if you had full control?
Oh, it just sent shivers up my spine just thinking about it. I'm not one of those technological eggheads of an agent. I was always the kind of guy that'd like to get my hands dirty, you know? But you know, when they talk about entropy, probability, stuff falling apart, all that egghead bullshit, it ain't wrong. It ain't wrong. Chaos. That's the only truth. That's the only real truth. We got to be on the side of the chaos, which I know is strange being an organization like we are. Being a career military man such as myself, I understand order and hierarchy, but ultimately, everything's going to fall apart.
Well, Colonel, how do you propose we instill order if there's no one to control the chaos?
Important point of clarification. When Allison reestablishes the connection, Gray and Oz coming up the stairs and Art and Maul coming up on the outside on the scaffolding, do you hold up when you can hear her again, or do you continue with whatever action you're about to perform?
I let them know to hold up, and I make sure that it's being sent to RST. So that way we're all in a holding pattern to not expose her until we get the real deal.
Well, the three of you that are inside, I would say, I mean, again, you are all technocratic agents. I mean, as you're just walking around talking to each other, nobody gives you a second look. You do belong here. It's kind of only when you decide if you try and body your way into his office that you're going to encounter any other reaction. Yeah.
And I broadcast it to them. So,
Okay.
through headsets or earpieces.
Yeah, you all have ways to communicate. We've established. However, Artura, outside, what is Artura doing? We've heard the requests. What is he actually going to do?
So, quick question: was Gray coming with us, or was he staying inside?
Gray went up the stairs. You and Maul are outside in the window washing scaffolding device.
Okay, I wouldn't stop. This is a preventative measure.
So currently, you're on the window washing scaffolding one floor below where you know Belladonna is. You could rise up to where she is, but theoretically, they will see you when you do so.
I choose to believe that it's like not directly below the windows of his office, but maybe like outside where his secretary is, perhaps. So not super in view, maybe, possibly. But even if I am, it's not going to stop me.
Going up to that level. Excellent. Belladonna, you were about to say something?
Colonel, I just wanted to ask you. You seem to me like a man who enjoys power and rank, yes?
Well, I realize the correct answer is to say that I have grown past the need for ego and external trappings, but I wouldn't lie to somebody I respect as much as you. Hell yeah, I enjoy it, Agent. And
how do you expect to hold on to power if you let chaos rule? It seems to me like you would lose all of it.
You know better than most, Agent, that it is necessary for us to wear different faces at times, right?
Of course.
This is a necessary face that I will wear. When I go meet with the Joint Chiefs here in a few more minutes, I will wear a different face then. In my service to the grand unraveling, is as good a word for it as any, I wear a different face then too. If the whole world is going to be a bonfire, I might as well have a front row seat and some s'mores and a cold one, right? And there's room by the fire for you too, Agent. That's why I called you. I had Damon's number. I could have called anybody on your team. I chose you, Belladonna, because I understand you know what needs to be done.
I am flattered. And I definitely understand the need to wear many faces. However, we are able to wear many faces because of the order that we have constructed. You won't be able to do that.
He kind of leans back a little bit and he says, well, I was afraid you wouldn't understand. That's why I wasn't going to share it with you quite so soon. And he stands and walks back over to the other side of his desk and he says, that'll be all, Agent. Dismissed.
Didn't say I wasn't going to hear you out.
And he looks up and he says, you are a shrewd negotiator. It ain't right of you to prey on an old man's weak mind, right? Let me tell you something. There are certain interests that got their fingers in every pie on the planet, and I don't just mean the order of reason. Politics, business, medicine, everywhere. Wheels within wheels, Agent. And it's all about to come to a head, massively come to a head. And he hits a button in the lights, the windows turn on again where you can see New York. And he says, let me show you something, Agent. Come over here by the window.
What are we looking at?
See over there by Central Park?
Mm-hmm.
See way down there. See over on the edge of it. You see that tall black building? You got to think real hard to look at it because it don't want to be seen. You got to concentrate real hard. You see that?
Do I see it?
It does take you a second. It's kind of like trying to get a cat to look at itself in the mirror. You're like, what? Wait. But when he's like, no, right there, and you kind of intend yourself to see it, you see it. There is a tall, twisted, misshapen black tower right across the street from Central Park.
What is that?
That, my dear. What in the hell? And you see Artura and Maul.
I'm like covering my face and just pretending to watch the window.
Like, and he turns and he looks at you. He goes, Was this some sort of ambush? Was that your plan to bring in your strike team against me, Agent?
Oh, Colonel, you know you're far too smart of a man to ever be fooled by something like that.
However, now that Allison, Gray, and Oz outside hear him say that, what do the three of you do?
Well, before you get into that, a message from headquarters. You have reached your second goal, and Critical Bard has decided that they're going to get away with one paradox. So they're not going to have one of the paradoxes.
Thank you. First of all, boo, Critical Bard. However,
no boo.
Thank you. So let me explain what that means for you all, because I very much have kind of soft sold you all on Paradox before now, which I've had to explain to Mikaela multiple times.
It means we get to go hot. That's what it means.
You know how all of those things you have to do where you kind of have to make things make sense, that you're like kind of have to weave it within the narrative of the possible? For at least one thing, you kind of don't have to worry about that.
Like the scaffolding?
Oh, more than
go
that.
back
Yeah,
in
but
time
you could,
5 minutes to undo that.
yeah, it's you for at least for one thing, you don't really have to worry about making it make sense. Essentially, is what he's done. Also, boo, CB. Also, thank you, CB.
No, he was saying boo earns.
Boo earns. I was saying boo earns. Shout out to Hans Molman, our homie. So that being said, Oz, Gray, Allison outside hearing the Colonel say, essentially, this was a trap. What did the three of you do?
At this stage, has he sort of stopped short of the golden ring there? Has he given himself enough rope, as it were, to tie himself with?
Kind of up to you. If he said what he said.
I think given the circumstances, and it's enough to get him looked at by the higher ups and potentially reprogrammed. So
no door kicking, just a casual turning of the door if it's locked.
Are you sure? Are you positive?
I will say, as you walk towards the door, the secretary does stand up and it's like, you all can't go in there. The Colonel is in a meeting.
You can't stop us.
When you say that, her eyes flash red and her hands flip back and machine gun barrels come out. You cannot go in there. The Colonel is in a meeting.
I would like to tackle her.
Roll your strength and brawl for me, Oz.
Do I get any kind of like bonuses to my new limbs?
Well, yes, you can add 2 extra dice to this.
Yeah, I can.
You gave up feelings to be strong.
I did.
Just like me. Actually, just give me 1 second, y'all. I got to close the door. Now that it's dark, the bugs are flying in here. Actually, no, we'll let it roll. We'll let it roll. If you see me swatting at my face, that's why. Strength and brawl. Yep.
It's because he has no pants on.
This is the scene in the horror movie where we see someone in the background. Like that's what's going to happen now.
It's not that. Yeah, y'all are going to see me scream and throw an overhand right. Speaking of an overhand right, you see these machine gun arms come out as Oz just shoots forward like she's propelled with springs. Like you see like a crater forms in the floor as she shoots forward. So much so, inside Agent Belladonna, you do hear as the guns go off towards the ceiling as Oz tackles her. And you see the Colonel turns and looks and he goes, "The hell did you do, Belladonna? The hell did all of y'all do?" And Artura and Maul, I know you've been very patient. You've definitely been made. What did the two of you do?
Can we hear what's going on inside? At this point?
The stream was reconnected, or the transmission was reconnected. Yeah.
Great, cool. I start hoisting us back up.
Mm-hmm. And Maul, yes.
When we come in view, can I like 1-inch punch, like Mace Windu, shatter point the window? Just
I mean, again, giving this being your get out of paradox free thing to like punch through like, you know, industrial strength glass. Yes, you can. So go ahead.
I do have gadgets. I have 5 in secret weapons.
You know, I will let you add 5 dice to this that you brought a little something for just such a set of circumstances, because that's what secret weapons are for.
Okay, cool.
And it's the finale. Why not?
Okay. You said 5 more?
I did. We're going big at the end here.
Count it with me. That's 4. 5. Oh, but 1s are negative.
Yep, 1s take 1 away.
Okay, so that's back to 4. 6. So 5 total.
Would you rather do it with your fist, or would you rather do it with a... You know what? We're going to split the difference. You got some special gloves while you were down there, Mull. You got some special gloves.
I like special gloves.
And you see, when you punch through this, he immediately jumps backwards and grabs one of those odd blades that is on one of his pedestals. And he just goes, Maul Belladonna, my own fellow NWO agents, god damn it. And that's when the door comes in, and it's Gray and Allison.
Why don't you just give up now, Bradley? You can't get out of here.
What makes you think I want to? If I ain't scared of no shapeshifters, what makes you think I'm scared of y'all?
Could I use matter to whatever the blade in his hand is metal, right?
Theoretically. I will say she already transmitted to you that these are shapeshifter relics, so you deeply suspect there's something mystical to them more than just being a knife, although you don't necessarily know what.
To the point where I believe I could not use my abilities in matter to alter it slightly?
You would know it will be more complicated, because it is more than just a knife. In fact, you in particular, Artura, are aware of these things that, again, spirits aren't a thing, although you are aware that there is a certain non-physical level of existence. Certain non-physical entities have been bound to this blade.
That doesn't sound good. That sounds bad. Great. Cool. I still gotta try. I would like to try and alter the blade that he grabbed to make it obscenely heavy, of the most dense matter ever to exist.
Go ahead and roll it.
What's the difficulty?
It'll be a difficulty 7. However, you won't get any paradox for this, thanks to CB.
That's still 3 successes.
Literally pulling your bacon out of the fire. You see, as he flips this around, you hear he goes, and when you see the knife start to drop in his hands and he looks, you hear something that sounds like metal bending, like and then he like looks and finally lets go, and it like stabs into the ground.
Go, now!
Yes, Gray.
I think it'd probably be conceivable that when he was moving about his office and the entry and the shock, that the carpet got a little messed up, and the odds of him tripping through this scene has increased quite a bit.
Normally, that is quite right. But again, thanks to the benevolence of Critical Bard, you don't even need to couch it in such language. If you're like, I force push his ass into the window, you could do that now. I realize we spent all this time doing not that, but this one time, you can do that.
I'd like to save it for something more dramatic than a trip.
Perfect.
So roll entropy.
Yep.
That is 2 zeros. Hot diggity.
Okay, re-roll them.
And a 0 and a 1.
So 2 total, because they basically, although you re-roll that 0 again. So currently you're sitting at 3, which went down to 2, but then you re-roll that 0. So what'd you end up with? 3?
Total of 4. I had a 6 on my other one.
Total of 4. Perfect. You very much see he drops this knife in Belladonna. He turns and looks like he's going to reach for you and like just trips on the carpet right there. And what does Belladonna do?
Well, that all depends.
Mm-hmm.
Was I armed coming in? Because I feel like
I mean, you knew what this was.
be-
You tell me if you were armed.
Well, here's the thing. Like, how I don't know how big is a Biggs X6 Model P incinerator.
Oh, it's not much, but its jacket can see you are fine.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Good, because as soon as shit hits a fan and he looks like he's coming out for me, I would like to shoot at him.
Well, he does fall right in front of you, so you could draw down on him, or do you and have him covered, or do you want to shoot him?
Can I just aim it at him?
Yeah, absolutely. Pull out your gun and point it at him, and he just looks up at you and he goes, I bet y'all think you've won. Fine, I surrender.
Well, I'm glad none of us had to get our hands dirty.
Well, all yourself, it's windy out there.
Your hair looks fantastic. What do you say? Do we? I would hate to get this office dirty for the next person who has to occupy this space. Where should we take him?
While he's laying there and you've got him covered and he's talking, he just says, oh no, darling, it ain't gonna be that easy. And springs forward across the floor, like he's down on all fours laid out, and just springs and shoots straight towards the window, through the windows, and falls the full 75 feet down to the ground.
Do I have enough time to react?
Yeah, I was gonna
Depends on what you would like to do.
Well, just in case you need this, a goal number 3 has been hit, so...
What?
Is that the extra dot of abilities?
It is.
So again, this hasn't come up before now. Thank you all, by the way. Thank you so very much. So that allows you to unlock your 4th spear. So you will roll 4 dice instead of 3. But on a practical level, godlike power becomes possible at rank 4.
Yeah, can I scramble his brain?
Well,
Before he tries to jump out the window?
Well, he's not without power himself. That's why he was able to get away so quickly. However, Allison, master of time and space, what do you intend?
We're going to be combining. This is 4CB who did it in our game. So first off, screw you, Technocracy. That's his quote. And 2, I'm going to give him the shittiest possible bad luck to his mechanical components while rewinding him back up.
Well, roll your 4 dice and let's see how this goes.
Look how salty B Dave is. He's like, fucking get away.
And I'm blowing a willpower. Blowing a willpower point.
All right.
6, 8, 7, and so there's 4.
You hear him say, it's not gonna be so easy, and goes to spring, and that arm that was already bent thanks to Artura just gives. Bang! And he just sort of stumbles forward slightly right towards you, Maul.
So he's still up here though.
Oh yeah. He does not jump out the window.
Or he went out and came back if you had time.
Technically, if you were able to perceive that, you would see that it did what Artura knows. He very
I'm kind of
much
giggling to
out of the
myself
window
about it because it
and
looks
then
really
came back into the window. Yeah.
Okay.
The rest of you, it looked like he went to jump and his shit failed.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Then in that case, as sort of requested earlier, I would like to, without explanation, light my fist on fire and falcon punch him into the wall.
Yes.
This would be the time for such things. You falcon punch him and he goes flying into his wall. Is from the other side of it, a machine gun armed android comes hurtling through the wall that Oz throws into your room that lands on the ground in like a malfunctioning crumple. And you see Bradley just sort of like coughs for a second and blood comes out. And he says, you take me in, you do whatever you want. You can't stop what's coming. It's already too late. And passes out.
meeting, everyone.
I just kind of kick him a little bit. Just a little bit.
Very, very diplomatic.
So we couldn't have done that meeting over email?
Not that one, I don't think.
Meanwhile, you all take Bradley into custody and place him in a cell that has no doors and proceed later that night to the cathedral to apprehend Dr. Dragarunter. When you arrive, the college campus is absolutely silent. You can hear a pin drop.
This is quite foreboding.
Yes. Am I able to get a sense of how inhabited the cathedral is at the moment with my awareness of dimensional space?
I won't even make you roll for it. There are a number of dead people inside, about 8.
Great. Would you like the good news or the bad news?
Yes.
Is there ever good news?
Well,
I would
the
like the
good
news.
news is that there's well, the bad news is that there's 8 people inside. The good news is that they're dead. So probably not going to put up a fight.
I think your definition of good needs to be altered.
It's situational.
While you're... Yes, go ahead, Belladon.
No, I was just saying, I mean, after that incident in the office, people not fighting back as a guarantee, I'm very okay with that.
While you all are standing there next to the van, you hear a horrific ripping sound. You see what looks like 4 claws appear in the middle of the air in front of you. And as you see a greenish red light pouring out of the crack. And a second later, an absolutely monstrous creature comes out. It's about 8 foot tall, rippling with muscles and covered in scars. Steps out and it's holding something in one of its giant hands. And it looks down and goes, "Hey, baby doll. Next time you want to wrestle, this is how it's gonna go down. But I was told to give you all a gift." And he tosses a very old, withered man on the ground in front of you. "I took care of the rest of them. You should execute that motherfucker. He's not gonna say anything worthwhile. Are we good now?" Yes, Gray.
His name is Mr. Gray, not Baby.
I would like to cash in my 4 dots to give this motherfucker just the worst misfortune for the rest of his life.
You're going to strike Mike Dragon's Wrath with a lifetime of misfortune?
Yep, I'm going to cash in all my entropy.
I'll make a note. Yes.
It's very rude.
He just looks at you all and gives you this misshapen, toothy grin and steps back into that hole but right before it closes, you hear the "what?" and a pair of flaming tentacles reach out and grab him, and he's like, "Ah!" Closes up.
Mm.
Well, that was about as well as could be expected, right?
Yeah, but no, who's this old man on the ground?
This is Dr. Gunter Dragarunter.
I didn't. He looked so beat up. I didn't recognize him.
I kicked him.
Dr. Gunter Dragarunter, I am the savior of mankind.
I kicked him as well.
So egotistical.
I knew you were coming. That's okay. I've lived long enough.
And he
We
just
are
sort of.
going to kill you.
He's resisting. Boom, boom.
Do you shoot him?
He's coming right for us.
Allison, do you shoot him?
Yeah.
If you shoot him, I absolutely back up time and let you do it again.
Wow.
He very much sits up and he says,
All of New York will burn and boom, boom, boom.
I kick the body again.
Yeah.
Okay, who did that to my weapon?
Yay!
Objective complete.
Mission accomplished.
Satisfying.
And we came in under budget.
Speaking of satisfying, now you have time for your date with Roz.
I pull out my cell phone and check it.
You've been sent a number of nudes.
Do I feel anything?
It's like through a haze. It's like somebody yelling at you off in the distance. But you are not completely without human emotion, no.
Mm-hmm. I believe I'd have a date to schedule. And also some alone time to take.
If you need a wingman or any pointers, just let me know.
Oh, also if you need like a restaurant reservation, also let me know.
From over by the van, you all hear,
Excuse me, agents. Might I approach?
I don't know if it'd be good for your health. Who are you?
I assure you I come in peace. Agent Maul, Agent Gray, Agent Belladonna, Dr. Artura Klimt, Agent Oz, Agent Allison. You all got a real problem, and I'd like to help be part of the solution.
What problem is that?
Not dentistry.
I'm gonna show myself. Please don't harm me.
Okay.
I look at Maul pointedly.
I'll look the other way.
from behind the van steps out a truly horrific sight. He looks like oily, uncooked chicken fat. He is greasy and pustulant, wearing a silk shirt that is open, showing his voluminous belly in rolls and misshapen lumps.
Normally, I would hide this sort of thing, but I figured you see through it anyway, right?
I mean, you do you.
Just as a reference, I don't know if this is a NOS or not, but if it is, I have PTSD 3 dots for Nosferatu.
This is absolutely a Nosferatu, Agent Maul, and you're immediately aware of that.
Could you hide it though? Just
Yeah, give me a name. Whoa, who's your favorite movie star?
I'm a big fan of Tilda Swinton.
He turns into Tilda Swinton immediately. Is this better?
Much better.
Is this a game we get to play?
If you would like, I do take requests, but perhaps we should get to the business first. Your 6 names have been burned. Were you aware of this?
Burned?
Burned how?
What does that mean?
Your identities are out. Other parties are aware of you and the work you do.
Oh.
That's not good.
I mean, people know me. It's fine.
No, they know you, but they don't know you.
Oh.
Yes.
Well, shit.
Yes. Mr. Gray, please don't stare at me like that. It makes me uncomfortable. I assure you, I'm here to help.
I am simply an observer.
He immediately turns into you, Gray, and stares at you the same way. Yes, I can see the appeal.
Oh, look, he's
that's
got
just disgusting.
How do you plan
how
on
did
helping?
And he turns back to Tilda Swinton. Yes, this is, it's better to be able to emote. Although I don't think she has a very emoty face.
How about B. Dave Walters?
Oh, I'm nowhere near tall enough. I realize you all are on the edge of this 8th generation thing, and the good doctor didn't really have an opportunity to confess his sins before meeting his very justifiable homicide. But there's a real problem in New York that extends past this one man and you 6 individuals.
You need to say what you
Listening.
have to say and leave.
I'm aware of your envoy to Harla Eckers. I believe it was very well placed. I'm aware of the significant connections that all of you have and the far reach of the Technocratic Union. Big fan of your work, although that bit in the sewers, unnecessary, Dr. Klimt, but I understood where you were coming from. You all are going to need help if you are going to survive what's about to happen next. The Black Tower is opening. And that is a good place for us to stop.
No!
B. You're mean. You're mean. You're mean.
It's distressing.
Hey, I had to inflict some sort of damage that they couldn't take from me, chat.
You've been warning us about this fucking tower for a year now.
Well, it's here
We
now.
all know what's going to happen next.
It's here now. Mikaela knows what's in the Black Tower. But so for those of you that are joining us, also thank you all for joining us. Thank you for your donations. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you so very much. We have been doing this for over a year now. Vampire, werewolf, wraith, changeling, and now mage were all leading up to a crossover story where they were going to be able to bring back some of their favorite characters. And in each one of those, there are certain sticks of dynamite that were lit, certain messes that went uncleaned up, or certain incidents they might have set in motion that might all be coming to a head. They might all have been coming to a head this whole entire time. So we're gonna take a couple of weeks. I think the plan is to come back June 25th, but we all got to look at our calendars and make sure it all lines up right. But soon, night will fall on New York, and I'm sure it's gonna be fine. I'm sure it's gonna be fine. Yeah. Also, the Silver Fangs are dumb. That being said. You know the best.
Where did B. Dave's mic go? I don't know.
You know, the best part about this, again, the version of Werewolf that I was working on is ultimately not the version that is going to come out. But I wrote the Silver Fang and the Shadow Lords chapters for that because I do love them both. I just love the Shadow Lords a little bit more. That's all. But respect to the Silver Fangs.
It's okay to be totally wrong in basically everything.
You know, I can only blame myself because you learned this game from me, and somehow you were so misguided. But I'm glad.
This.
But Jake got it though. Jake understands. That's my legacy. Joey is my legacy. But I digress. Before we get out of here, who are you beautiful people, and who have you been gracing us with? And we will go the opposite direction this time, starting with Diana.
Hey, you guys. I'm Diana. I'm a little bit brain fuzzy now. I have been Arthura Klimt this evening. Are we talking about other stuff too?
Yeah, of course. If not now, when?
So tomorrow, my birthday was yesterday. Tomorrow, there's a stream over on Bard and Barbarian at noon Pacific, celebrating my birthday and raising some money for Wawa Rape Crisis Center. Justice is leading Emily, Mason, myself, and Cynthia Marie, along with Gabe Hicks, through a totally IP compliant, all Disney villain one shot.
Legally distinct.
Yes. Yeah. Totally not at all. Don't sue me, Disney. Next week, there's all kinds of stuff going on our channel. But actually, yesterday, a big thing for me just got announced. I'm going to be running a Vampire the Masquerade campaign for Renegade Games. Noura is in that game. I'm so psyched for it. I also have Jen Kretschmer, Gabe Hicks, and Cynthia Marie joining me for that one, too. So good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. Very excited.
Should be terrible. I did everything I can to help you make it worse. Every time I was like, here's a way to make it worse.
It's true.
Yeah. It's going to be fine, though. Don't worry about it, Noura. It's going to be fine. Yeah. Speaking of...
It's never fine.
Speaking of Noura.
Hi, everyone. I'm Noura Ibrahim. You can find me at Nouralogical and all the things. I stream a number of different RPGs on several different networks. Tomorrow, I will be with the Glass Cannon podcast gang, along with fellow special guest Alicia Marie for PaizoCon, which will be on 6 p.m. Pacific on twitch.tv/official Paizo. We'll be doing Pathfinder 2E. You can also find me Monday nights on Realmsmith for Into the Mist, our Curse of Strahd campaign. Thursday nights for Black Dice Society, DM'd by the magnificent P.J. Walters. And I'm usually on Damsels and Dice, Pixel Circus for Damsels and Dice on Saturdays, but we're on a little hiatus. I do a bunch of stuff on different nights, so please follow me on things. But those are the immediate stuff coming up. Please follow and check out the things. Passing it over to somebody else, because my brain's just fried after that.
Yeah,
all of that.
Good. Willpower damage on the way out the door.
Yes, always.
Hi, I'm Justus. You can find me on the socials as Stashmandu. I stream over on Bard and Barbarian channel on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We're doing some zombie stuff on Tuesdays, some Cthulhu Cowboys on Thursdays. Like Dana said, running the amazing fun game tomorrow with lots of giveaways. We've got giveaways from Elderwood Academy, Die Hard Dice, Norse Foundry, Roll20. There's so much fun stuff that's going to happen in that couple hour scene. So you guys should stop by at least for a little while. Say hey. On June 21st and June 28th, I'll be doing a guest spot on Fenrir Rising, which is a cyberpunk game on the Norse Foundry channel. And literally, we're going to take a break here. So other than Fridays moving forward, every night of the week, I'm somewhere doing something. So it's fun. It's fun.
Absolutely. Mason?
Yeah, hey everybody. My name is Mason Dula. That's Dula. You can find me at Mason Dula on the Twitters and stuff. Yeah, I don't have any huge projects right now, but I do have a couple really big ones coming up real soon. So you can find me on a number of shows with these beautiful people. So hopefully I'll be seeing you at all of those.
Just generally being an internet hunky boy, though. It's fine. Yeah. Emily?
Hi, everybody. I'm Emily. You can find me on all the socials at Emily the Spoon. I am the director of licensing over at Roll20, and I do various streams in addition to this one, the regular Call of Cthulhu Iron Dust and Blood with Bard and Barbarian. I'll be on Diana's birthday stream tomorrow playing a legally distinct version of a Disney villain, and you'll just have to come watch to find out which one. Yeah, I think that's the summary. Emily the Spoon. That's where I am.
Huzzah. And last but certainly not least, Mikaela.
Hi, I'm Mikaela Sims. You can find me on Twitter, Mikaela V Sims. If you like Mage, I'm currently working on my big project, which is too large in scope, but it is 2 Mage groups, a Technocracy and a Tradition. We've got B.D. Walters, Noura Ibrahim. We've got Justice Ormond, Dan Dillon, Phil Bricado, Jen Kretschmer, Latia Jaquise, and Omega, Critical Bard. And,
Omega. I shall remember this, Light.
Oh, yeah. This is where the Professor and Belladonna came from. And I am producing all sorts of special effects and things like that to put this out. So follow me, and I'll make announcements kind of later in the summer.
I've seen just a fraction of the thing that she has planned, and it's bananas. It's a lot. It's a lot. Definitely check it out. And me, you're right. Now looking at that behind me, it is just like the void to the abyss there. Like this is the part in the internet video where something peeks around the corner and I don't see it. You know, you guys are like, it's behind you, and I'm like, what? I don't see anything. Yeah, this is that part of the story.
Just all caps, look out.
I know, right? Like apparently it was right the entire time. Is what's going on right there. B. Dave Walters. You can find me somewhere doing something almost 7 days a week. I'm actually coming up on a couple of breaks now. This is Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Gonna be breaks for at least a couple of weeks. That's weird. Black Dice Society Thursdays at 4 on D&D, Twitch, and YouTube. Me and Noura doing things. The End of the Motherlands Kickstarter is going now. It is going quite well. Check it out if you can. We appreciate your support. Also doing a charity game tomorrow for St. Jude's. Not going to say when because I'd rather you tune in and support my people here and the thing that they're doing. But more importantly, thank you all for having joined us for this. And I hope you enjoyed the ride. And we will come back for when literally a year's worth of hijinks is finally going to pay off. And I realize you guys have forgotten all of it, and I've taken extensive notes of every single person you fuck with over the last year.
Oh, God, that's a long list.
It's a long list. It's only going to be fine.
Yeah, long list. Yeah, it's going to be all right. So a couple weeks, and we will be back. But in the meantime, thank you. And thank you, QueueTimes, of course, for making this possible. Thank you, Jake. And we will see you all next time. Bye-bye.
Thanks for all the support tonight and all the donations.
Thank you.